Michael and Princess had been neighbors since they were little kids. Both 12 years old, they were inseparable whenever they were home from boarding school. Their parents were always busy with work, barely having time to check on them, but that never bothered the two friends. They had each other, and that was enough. During every holiday, they would sit under the big mango tree in Princess's backyard, sharing stories from their different schools. Michael would tell her about the football matches he played, the pranks he pulled, and the funny teachers he had. Princess, on the other hand, loved telling stories about her friends, the gossip in her dormitory, and the strange things she heard from older girls. But this particular holiday, Princess had a different kind of story to share. One that made her both curious and confused. "Michael, you won't believe what the girls in my school were talking about," Princess said, her voice dropping to a whisper even though no one else was around. "What is it?" Michael asked, leaning in closer, his eyes wide with curiosity. "They were saying things about boys and girls, about growing up," she said, her cheeks turning slightly pink. But the way they were explaining it didn't make sense. They made it sound like some kind of game. Michael frowned. "What kind of game?" Princess hesitated before answering. "They said, when a boy and a girl like each other, they do things. And it feels different." Michael's face scrunched up in confusion. "What things? Like holding hands?" Princess shook her head. "No, more than that. But I don't really understand it." They were laughing and saying it's how adults act. Michael was silent for a moment, thinking. Maybe we should ask someone? Who? Our parents are always busy. And what if they get mad? Princess replied nervously. Michael sighed. Then, maybe we can find out ourselves. The next day, Michael and Princess sat huddled in front of Michael's laptop, their fingers nervously typing questions into the search bar. How do boys and girls, you know, become adults? Princess whispered, as if saying it too loud would summon their parents. The screen flooded with answers, some confusing, some too complicated, and some that made their faces burn with embarrassment. This doesn't make sense. Michael groaned, scrolling through a medical article filled with big words. Why can't they just explain it simply? Maybe we're searching wrong, Princess suggested. What if we try different words? They spent hours clicking through websites, but none of the answers felt real. Some made it sound scary, some made it sound exciting, and others just left them more confused than before. Finally, Michael slammed the laptop shut in frustration. This isn't working. The internet is just making it worse. Princess bit her lip. Then, how do we find out the truth? A silence fell between them. Then, slowly, Michael looked at her with a hesitant expression. What if we try it ourselves? Princess's eyes widened. You mean, actually do what they were talking about? Michael nodded. Just to see what it's like. Just to understand. Princess hesitated, her heart pounding. But, what if it's bad? What if we get in trouble? We won't, Michael said quickly. We'll be careful. No one has to know. Princess took a deep breath. Okay, but only to see what it's really like. The next morning, their parents left for work as usual, leaving Michael and Princess alone in their quiet neighborhood. Today's the day, Michael said, his voice low but determined. Princess nodded, though her hands were shaking slightly. Where should we do it? Your house, Michael suggested. Your parents never come back early. Princess agreed, and the two of them sneaked into her house, tiptoeing as if they were burglars. The bathroom seemed like the safest place, private, quiet, and with a lock on the door. Okay, let's hurry, Princess said, locking the bathroom door behind them. Before anyone comes back. Michael took a deep breath. So, how do we start? Princess hesitated. I don't really know. The girls at school just said, you're supposed to touch and stuff. Michael frowned. That's not helpful. Well, you're the boy. Don't you know? Princess shot back. How would I know? No one ever told me. Michael argued. They stood there awkwardly, the reality of what they were about to do sinking in. It had seemed like a good idea in their heads, but now, faced with actually doing it, they weren't so sure. Just as Michael was about to say something, a sound from outside made them freeze. A key turning in the front door. Princess's blood ran cold. That's my dad's car, she whispered in panic. I thought you said he never comes back early. Michael hissed. He doesn't. Unless. Princess's eyes widened. Oh no, what if he forgot something? Footsteps echoed through the house. Princess? Are you home? Her father's voice called out. The two kids stood frozen, their hearts pounding so loud they were sure he could hear it. Quick! Hide! Michael whispered, but there was nowhere to go in the small bathroom. The footsteps grew closer. Then, a knock on the bathroom door. Princess? Are you in there? Silence. Michael and Princess exchanged terrified looks. Then, the doorknob turned. The door swung open, and Princess's father stood there, his expression shifting from confusion to shock as he took in the scene before him. His daughter and her best friend, standing way too close in the bathroom, their faces red with guilt. What are you two doing in here? He asked slowly, his voice dangerously calm. Nothing. Princess stammered. Michael was just waiting for me to finish bathing. Her father's eyes narrowed. Then why are you both fully dressed? And why is the door locked? Michael swallowed hard. Princess's father crossed his arms. Tell me the truth. Right now. The silence stretched. Then, finally, Princess burst into tears. We were trying to find out about adulthood, she sobbed. The girls at school talked about it, but we didn't understand, and the internet didn't help, so we thought we could try it ourselves. Her father's face went through several emotions, anger, disbelief, then finally, a deep sadness. "Oh, kids," he sighed, rubbing his temples. "Come out of there. We need to talk." Princess and Michael sat on the couch, heads bowed, as her father paced in front of them. "What you were about to do, that's not something children should be experimenting with," he said firmly. "Those things are for adults, and there's a reason for that." "But the girls at school made it sound like it was no big deal," Princess mumbled. "And that's the problem," her father said. "Kids your age hear things, but they don't understand them. And when no one explains it properly, you get this." He gestured to them. Confused. Scared. Making bad decisions. Michael looked up. "So, what's the truth?" Princess's father took a deep breath. "The truth is, what you were curious about is something special between two people who are much older. It's not a game. It's not something to try just because you're curious. And most importantly, it's something you should never do without understanding it fully." Princess wiped her tears. "We just wanted to know." "And that's okay," her father said gently. "But next time, come to me or your mom. Or Michael's parents. We'll explain things the right way." Michael nodded slowly. "So, we messed up?" "Not yet," her father said. "But you were about to. And that's why I'm glad I came home when I did." After the talk, Princess's father called Michael's parents and explained what had happened. At first, they were angry, but after hearing the full story, they realized their kids had just been misinformed. That evening, both families sat down together and had a long, honest conversation about growing up, relationships, and the importance of waiting until they were older. Michael and Princess listened quietly, their earlier curiosity replaced by understanding and a little embarrassment. "So, we don't have to try it to know?" Princess asked. "No," her mother said firmly. "When the time is right, you'll know. And it'll be with someone you truly care about, not just out of curiosity." Michael sighed in relief. "Good. Because that was scary." The adults laughed, and for the first time that day, the tension melted away. From that day on, Michael and Princess made a promise to always ask their parents when they heard things they didn't understand. No more secrets. No more experiments. Their friendship grew stronger, but now, it was based on trust and honesty, not confusion and fear. And whenever they heard their classmates telling wild stories about adulthood, they just smiled and shook their heads. Because now, they knew the truth. Moral of the story, curiosity is natural, but some things are meant to be learned the right way, from those who truly know. Always ask questions, but never experiment with what you don't understand.